people, and welcome back to another episode of WTF Movies, the series where I review movies that make me go, what the fuck?
Hello beautiful people, back again with the latest episode. I know, I've been away for a while, I apologize. Life got in the way and I lost my motivation for a little while, but then I got all this stuff, I've got a new lens, I'm super duper excited, I had to do a review, so I didn't waste any more time. I got right down into it, I went into the bowels of the World Wide Web, found another film, Monster Hunter, put myself through it, I watched it once, I took notes, I pulled myself back together mentally and physically as much as I could after that experience, and here I am. Monster Hunter is a film starring Milla Jovovich, whom I love. I grew up on The Fifth Element, yes please. And Ron Perlman, Tony Jaa, love them both to bits. Amazing work by both of them. However, this is not one of them. I'm sorry, I do appreciate the work that goes into making a film and all the different moving parts that are involved in a project like this and all the different ways that a project like this can go wrong. That being said, we gotta talk about it. I mean, we gotta talk about it. And with no further ado, let's get right down into it. Monster Hunter, here we go. Oh, like and subscribe, please, thank you. Our film starts with a lovely little quote, and let me just read it real quick. It is entirely possible that behind the perception of our senses, new worlds are hidden of which we are totally unaware. It's a film about tiny people fighting massive CGI monsters. Not my auntie's Facebook feed. Okay? Moving on. In the new world, a crew of mysterious sand sailors are crossing over the desert in a part that I actually like. And enter Ron Perlman, wearing a ridiculous anime wig. So my dude, he's either a member of the latest Japanese boy band or he's a Soccermom in Final Fantasy VII. I couldn't really tell with those sprinklings of a coal miner on top of it. Look, I was gonna give the wig a pass because it's based on a video game and it has its own vibe. You know, respect, you gotta respect the source material. But Ron Perlman? Really? With that wig? My dude looks hilarious. Never mind. Out of nowhere, here comes a monster. Because filmmaking 101, when your film is called Monster Hunter, give the people what they want in the first 5 minutes. Now, to be completely fair, because I'm about to start slagging off this monster in about a couple minutes, in this sequence, you get away with it because it's dark, it's poorly lit, you can't really see the bad CGI, so it's kind of alright. And it comes in, does the damage. Poor Tony Jaa, one of our leading characters, gets knocked off the ship, and the rest of the crew sails away. And we're back in our world where the cheap product placement and problems begin. Meet Captain Artemis. She's the alpha leader of Alpha Team, trying to investigate the disappearance of Bravo Team. Yes, it sounds ridiculous. I think that's the point. Straight away we find out that she's a no-nonsense, tough as nails, seen it all, done it all captain. Because she calls her team ladies when there's mostly guys. Yeah, character development. And obviously one of the guys goes, she's a woman, but she still makes it sound like an insult. Yeah, I know, right? Moving on. Full disclosure, I didn't like Milla Jovovich in this role, I think, because she just came across to me as too clean, too nice. She's this seen it all, been through it all, years of war and tragedy and trauma, and then she comes across as a slightly pissy manager in a restaurant. I'm sorry, it's just Nicole Kidman in Destroyer, Rosamund Pike in A Private War. Yeah, can't really hold them up against each other, can you? As the investigation continues into the disappearance of Bravo Team, we meet our plucky team of super soldiers, or just regular soldiers, we're about to find out. They all get a line each to make an impact, so as you can tell, they're all very near and dear to my heart, and I do hope nothing bad ever happens to them. One of them likes music, the other one keeps his dog tag on his ankle in case his head gets blown off, foreshadowing. Out of nowhere, they are surrounded by a giant electric storm, which looks a little bit like the one in Mad Max Fury Road. Same but different. It's alright, not the greatest of CGI, you can tell, but it'll get a pass. As they're driving away, a portal activates and they all fall through it in slow motion for emphasis. The unit wakes up in this new world desert. Naturally, when you find yourself surrounded by questionable looking CGI, they all panic, trying to figure out what just happened and how can they get back to wherever they just came from, because suddenly there's no road, everything's different dunes, the maps are not matching up with what they're seeing. So they start investigating. They found Bravo team who have been scorched, and at this point the film, with the subtlety of a teenage high school interpretive dance troupe, hints that it might have been a dragon, because they were scorched, burned. Not even napalm burns that hot, actual quote. The sand has turned into glass, and whoever did it didn't leave any marks on the land. On the way to the next significant plot point, a ragtag unit of adorable soldiers who I hope nothing ever bad happens to, because they're very close to my heart. Yeah, they start having a wee argument and then they're doing a sing-along. Because they're people. Get it? They're human beings. They sing. Let it go, let it go. By complete coincidence, on the final verse, they bump into a giant skeleton. It looks like a video game cutscene from the late 2000s, but it's a giant skeleton. At this point, Tony Jaa's character reappears, just chilling on a big rock, and he tries to warn our unit that there's some monsters on the loose, obviously in the sand, but it's too late because the massive monster from before, it's called Diablos, attacks. Understandably, our team makes their exit, pursued by CGI. Unfortunately, and it breaks my heart to say this, it catches up with them and it kills one of them. The one that liked the music, or the other one, I don't know. One of them. Oh, and just because I gotta give you a close-up, there he is. Smile for the camera, big boy. The survivors manage to run away from the Diablos and find refuge in the nearby caves with a little help from Tony Jaa's exploding arrows. The Diablos, having realized that it's not gonna get its snack, turns around and leaves. The sun sets in 5 seconds from light to pitch black. It's a brave new world. Unfortunately, our team doesn't get a lot of time to regroup because here come the giant spiders. Yuck. They look great. CGI is actually half decent, but ugh. And besides Captain Artemis, who gets poisoned and sedated, everybody dies because they needed the budget for the CGI. I always get attached to the wrong people. It's not the camera. Tony Jaa's hunter character does try to help them, but he is powerless against the swarm, so he just hides out in his lair. Captain Artemis wakes up in a cocoon in the middle of the spider lair. Very creepy. This whole sequence is actually looks great, pretty decent. Creepy though, very creepy. She does try to help her team, but they're a bit tied up. Sorry. As she's bumbling through this lair, she finds Link, the sniper from her unit, and oh my god, reunited at last. They rekindle their relationship, they promise to never let each other go, and they have 2 babies. No, basically spiders burst from his chest, baby spiders, and then Mama Spider bites his head off. It's a cruel, cruel world in Monster Hunter Land. Artemis, armed with a flare and a spray, flamethrowers this ugly bastard, and she makes a run for it. She gets all the way to the top. She's just climbing out, but her leg gets caught. She's being dragged back down into this hell. Luckily, she's quick thinking because she is the hero. Remember, no nonsense, tough as nails, the alpha of the alphas. And she uses a handful of ammo that she throws into the spider, and in the heat, I guess because of the gunpowder, it explodes. It stuns the spider long enough that she manages to get out. And oh my god, I need to breathe. Luckily, they're afraid of the sun. Artemis takes out a wedding ring from a little box that she has and stares longingly at it. Because she's a three-dimensional character, you guys. She cauterizes her wound on her ankle and decides to get as far away from this nest as humanly possible. I agree, thank you. And in 30 seconds, she has reached the top of the CGI mountain in the middle of the CGI desert. While she's up at the top, she throws a stone out into the desert. As soon as it lands, up pops Diablos. Still angry, still CGI. So we have that problem to deal with. And then she makes her way across the mountain to some sand shipwrecks. You know, sand ships, as opposed to ships. Sorry. Tony Jaa finally introduces himself. Does he go up and slowly but surely make sure that Artemis is safe, and do they have a chat or just figure out what the hell is going on? Nah, she sticks a blade to her throat and they're fighting. Why? Because you gotta draw the line at illegal aliens somewhere? I don't know. I really don't know why they're fighting. Because the director needed the footage. On we go. Can I just point out the fact that in this alien world, he looks like a dude from Thailand. We have Thailand in our world. Why are you fighting him, Artemis? Make it make sense. Well, you see, what this film is trying to tell us very subtly is that the monster hunters are the real monsters. They fight, he wins, he ties her up and takes her back to his cave to introduce her to his mother. Anyway, the sun sets, 5 seconds again, here come the spiders. In the cave, he is tending to his wounds, drinking some water, saying his prayers, doesn't offer a single drop of water to Artemis. You're the only two humanoid characters in an actual desert of monsters. I guess that's the kind of people they are. In the morning, round 2, fight. Artemis, being the ambitious go-getter that she is, managed to free herself during the night and sneaks up behind him, hits him with a stick, and of course, ties him up. How you doing? He finally managed to drink a sip of water, but then Tony Jaa knocks it all out of her hand and just breaks the whole thing. So now obviously they're pissed. Royally pissed. So Artemis breaks his shrine. Next thing you know, they're rolling down the side of the mountain back into the spider's nest. Here come the spiders, they almost eat our poor monster hunter Tony Jaa. Luckily, Artemis at this stage, finally having realized what I've been going on about for the past 3 minutes, saves him. Thank you. We've literally just had 2 fights in 10 minutes. Because that's what people do. And then in 30 seconds, our heroes go from sworn enemies who almost killed each other to best buds. They're laying the foundations of their friendship by the traditional exchanging of chocolate for water. Yeah, like now she's giving him chocolate. Although I have to give it to Tony Jaa when he finds out that there's no more chocolate. Adorable. Oh, wait till you discover pizza. Now, on the basis of this new stable partnership, our heroes hatch a plan. Capture one of these big creepy bastard spiders, cut off its sting because these spiders have stings, and then use that to poison the Diablos, kill it, so now they can finally cross the desert. Easy peasy spider squeezy. So, at sunset, Artemis is waiting just outside the nest, giving us another beautiful rendition of the soldier song from earlier. And turns out the spiders like it as much as I do, because this chunky boy is pissed. Just like that, the spiders are relatable. Fortunately, everything goes according to plan. Artemis runs, spider follows. At the right moment, Tony Jaa's character jumps off this cliff with this massive sword, beheads the spider, cuts off its sting. Now, about that sword, seeing that it's the size of half a human, and he's just wielding it with two hands like it's nobody's business, he's jumping around with it and everything. You mean to tell me that a human managed to overpower and wound this character? I mean, look at that sword. The sheer upper body strength doesn't make it possible to defeat him. Again, what was the point of the previous 10 minutes? Back in the cave, the friendship deepens. Aww. Tony Jaa's character discovers Velcro, and they learn some words from each other. Also, we find out that the Hunter's family, Tony Jaa's family, was killed by a monster called Rathalos. Moving on, because so does the film. Next up, we get a lovely montage. They make poison arrows, they lay a trap for Diablos, and he trains her with magical alien weaponry. Lucky for us, she's a natural, otherwise we'd be here for 30 minutes. She learns how to use all of it in 2. Whoop whoop. There's a reason she's the alpha of the alphas. Again, I would just like to point out his massive sword and his massive bow and arrow that he runs around with on a regular basis. How did she defeat him again? Never mind. Next up, battle with the Diablos. Now, because this film is called Monster Hunter and not Death by CGI, our heroes win. Tony Jaa manages to poison the Diablos with one of those sting arrows right into its eye, which is a pretty cool shot. And then he even manages to plant his sword right into his skull. But he gets knocked out, so Artemis finishes the job. Because they're a team, you guys. See? Never let it said that chocolate does not lead to fruitful relationships. Our heroes then cross the desert. Well, she drags him across it most of the way because he's been wounded, and she even manages to perform a quick surgical procedure. The surgery is successful, and they continue crossing the desert, this time with a different soundtrack. Our heroes reach a CGI oasis in the middle of a CGI desert with CGI trees and CGI animals, but it gets a pass because it looks alright. So I take back one CGI. A little bit more of the Hunter banter. Tony Jaa uses Artemis as bait against this sea creature without telling her. That's not very nice. Should have given him a little bit more chocolate. We get a Hunter barbecue, some Hunter booze, Hunter character bonding. And we have a beautiful nightfall, but we can't have nice things because here comes the Rathalos, also known as the fire-breathing dragon that this film has been subtly telling us about. Never mind the dragon, it's a stampede! All these animals go crazy, they're running towards them. At this point, Ron Perlman, probably in between rehearsals for his Japanese boy band, drops in, and him and Artemis make a stand in the middle of this stampede while poor Tony Jaa's Hunter character has to make a run for it. Luckily, at the edge of the cliff, the rest of the crew drop in as well, and they whisk him away. And then, because probably no amount of money was going to make Ron Perlman talk in a made-up alien language, he speaks English. And knocks Artemis out with a single punch. Very rude. Don't try this at home. Also, is that how they say hello in this universe? It makes sense. It actually makes sense. If you look at his weapons, I expect him to be able to punch a human's light sight. Our hero wakes up in the cell of this sand ship, surrounded by crew members, all curious, oh, who is this stranger in our land, in our universe? Obviously, she's pissed. There's Tony Jaa looking regretful with puppy dog eyes. He knows what he's done. And 2 minutes later, she's broken out in the middle of the night from the cell because she's resourceful and a hero. Go team. Oh, and nobody puts baby in the cell. She's sneaking around a little bit, and then she finally meets alternate dimension Puss in Boots. This character is lifted from the game, and it's fan service to all the fans of the Monster Hunter series. Again, I'm not gonna lie, I like this setting. The ship setting works. The CGI is passable. You can get into it. You can enjoy it. That said, I don't know what was the point of this sequence of the whole getting locked up and sneaking around, because the only thing we got from it was Meowscular Chef. And in the very next scene, Ron Perlman apologizes to Artemis and we're buddies again. Just like that, like, yeah. And here comes the info dump. There are two worlds connected by a portal. The portal was built by ancients. The ancients are gone, but the portal is not. It has become very unstable as of late, and it could destroy the entire world. Both, one, we don't know, but it would be a shame if either of those happened. So Ron Perlman and his crew of Final Fantasy Sand Sailors have decided to go to the Sky Tower, which is the base of this portal, and investigate it. However, the portal is guarded by Rathalos, the big fire-breathing monster. The plan is very simple: kill the Rathalos, investigate the tower. The next morning, understandably, Artemis has joined the crew. She is one of the hiking team that is about to set off to go to the tower, but not before Puss in Boots, Meowscular Chef, winks and blows kisses at Artemis. Oh, Puss in Boots. Stop it, because I'm gonna call HR. After a day of hiking, our team gets to the base of the Sky Tower and they find some glass. Oh my god, it's a Rathalos. Ron Perlman just told us that there's a Rathalos that they need to kill. He was showing us the encyclopedia pages. What's the big surprise? Turns out there is a certain amount of money you can pay Ron Perlman to speak in an alien language, because he gives some orders and the fight begins. Right. In the interest of fairness and full disclosure, I actually like the dragon. Felt like what you'd imagine, or what I'd imagine a dragon would really be like in real life. The battle itself, it's alright, the acting's passable. For my taste, a little bit too much slow-mo, because, let's be honest, with slow motion, you're putting a magnifying glass on whatever is on screen. And if the acting is not great, you are watching not great acting in slow-mo. My favorite bit in this whole sequence is the fact that at one point, Ron Perlman, an alien, in an alien world, fighting an alien monster, is talking shit to it in English. I get you put all your budget into the final CGI sequence, but subtitles, bro. If anything, I have a theory, and I think I've been proven right, that if there's an alien language in a film, Ron Perlman gets paid by the word. And to be fair, he's earned it. So just to reiterate, fight's decent, love the dragon. As they're battling this mythical beast, the portal is activated again and Artemis falls through it, just about narrowly evading this wave of fire behind her. I like that, that's cool. And we're back in our world. The moment Artemis wakes up, the US Army is there. Now, they were investigating the disappearance of 2 units. Still, exactly at the spot straight away. Okay. They try to help her, they tie her down to a gurney, they take her into a helicopter, and then they're immediately evacuating her. And luckily for Artemis, she wakes up and discovers that it was all a dream. No, I'm messing with you. Here comes the dragon and kills everyone. Again, I enjoyed this sequence as well. I mean, there's some really cool little moments with the dragon just going ham. Tears off the cockpit of a helicopter, tears off the top of a tank, tears off the wings of an airplane. It's just carnage. Where does that come from? might need to speak to my therapist about that. This film cannot help itself because, I repeat, she is strapped to a gurney on a helicopter. Dragon tears up the cockpit, it crashes, she survives. A helicopter crash, strapped to a gurney, landed on the back. Not only does she survive, she gets up, she's running, she's fighting again. Wear your seatbelt? This woman's back is a character on its own. The amount of injury she sustained being slapped into Humvees and falling and all those injuries throughout the whole film. She's earned the right to never have to carry her own shopping in this life and the next. Don't worry about it. In the very end, it comes down to Artemis and the Rathalos one-on-one in the middle of this desert. She gets in a critical hit, however, it's not final, and thank the gods, here comes Tony Jaa with his exploding arrows. They finally defeat this monster through the power of friendship. The whole team shows up from the Monster Hunter world. They celebrate, but not for long because they're attacked by an unwanted sequel. And since it's all the rage, we get a mid-credit scene. Having been cleared by HR, here comes Meowscular Chef joining the fight, and the battle is being surveyed by a mysterious hooded figure. Alrighty, beautiful people, well that was that. Actually enjoyable at points, very annoying at others. It's just the potential, there was so much potential. Scores. On IMDb, the public has given this film 5.3. Well, yeah, I can understand that. On Metacritic, the public has decided, having spoken, that the film deserves 4.0. I thought that was a bit harsh, not gonna lie. There were bad bits, but you could have a little bit of fun. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, the public has rated this film 70%. Now that's a bit much. Like, I'm trying to be optimistic and positive and good vibes only, but that's a bit much. Come on. There were good sequences. Few and far in between. I mean, I liked the spider nest sequence. I liked the Rathalos, the way it looked. The very beginning of the film with the crew, and then towards the end it got kind of cool again. But there was just this massive desert of... In a world of CGI with CGI monsters, I want my characters' personalities to not be CGI. So unfortunately, that really brought down the film to me. I'm gonna go with it, 4.9. Which in this case stands for A for effort, but please do better, please. Alright, beautiful people, and that wraps up this week's episode. Hopefully, I'm not gonna promise that I'll see you next week because, you know, I did it the last time and I can only be a liar so many times. But I will try my best as soon as I can to bring out the next episode. There's some fun films that I need to review. If you have any comments, please leave them down there. If you want to recommend any films, please contact me and let me know what you thought of it. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.